Hello, everybody. Name's Kevin, and I'll just share my screen here. Okay. So this week it was kind of like a catch-up week for us. You guys can see my screen, right? Okay, cool. Um, this week was kind of like a catch-up week for us. We originally coded our data stuff in JSON, and we actually kind of changed that up, and we had to delete that stuff and change it over to CSV, just so it could be easier for us to understand what was going on, because JSON is a little harder to work with. So that's what a lot of this week was. It was just changing everything from JSON to CSV. And that's what a lot of this is in our file data handler stuff. You can see we commented some stuff out because some stuff still kind of buggy and isn't working as we like it to. So we still need to do some changes there. Um, and we also have a test for file data handler, which is up and running. Hopefully it doesn't crash on me. No, it's good. So that's up and running, and yeah, that's what we mainly did for this whole week. It's just fixing everything to CSV. So hopefully for this next upcoming week, we can switch over to our web app. But also, I want to give a big thank you to like all the other teams. They don't know, but like we looked at a lot of their code and it helped us a lot to kind of like structure our file data handler stuff. So I'm glad that we were able to do that. But I also do want to show off our diagram for the web app that we have. And this is kind of what we have so far. So this was our original idea. Our project, if you guys don't know, is called BitLife. And this was our original idea. It looks kind of retro and kind of old school, which I kind of liked, but we didn't really think, me and my group, we didn't really think that it would fit BitLife properly. So we kind of had to scratch this idea, but I kind of like it, so we kept it here. And we actually went with this. So let's ask you to sign in to start LifeSim, which is what we changed it up to, LifeSim instead of BitLife. And when you sign in, this is what it takes you to. It takes you to this new title screen, which is more simple and more clean. Um, and right here, these boxes would be kind of like pictures, kind of showing off situations, since our project is going to kind of take you through situations, and those situations could change the meters at the top left here, which is happiness, reputation, and intelligence. Um, and then up here, you have your player icon, the name, the age, things of that sort. You have a start over button and a continue button. That's what the file data handler stuff is for, just in case you want to start over or just in case you want to continue your game. You can log out at the top right. And, if you hit continue, if you start over, it would take you to this screen, which kind of just is what the rest of the game would look like. Maybe not this color scheme. We're still working on it, but this is kind of what it's going to look like. We'd have art right here displaying the situation. We'd have the text or the prompt, the question of that sort. It'd be right here. And then here are, down at the bottom is 4 boxes displaying situations or kind of like responses to the situation and kind of how you want to handle it, all of which would probably affect these 3 meters right here. And the final thing is the leaderboard, which hopefully we can implement. But that's, if you don't know, like a leaderboard is kind of like showing off the highest scores, and like the highest scores that people have achieved. Might just be locally, since we don't know how we'd be able to do that online, but it might all be locally. So this will show your highest score from like 1 to 10 or something like that. But yeah, that's all we had so far. Again, this was like a catch-up week for us, so we don't have anything too crazy to show off. But yeah, that's about it. Mhm.
Yeah, thanks, Warren. So yeah, my name's Caden. So team three this week, we pretty much worked on creating our web application. So kind of transferring our entities from our console app over to our web app and creating controllers for all those entities. And I'll go ahead and pull them up really quickly. Okay. So pretty much the controller ties a lot of things together. It ties our data handler, which had our repo data handler actually, which contains our CRUD, just kind of formatted so it'll work with our web application. And go back to this. Um, so yeah, so our repo data handler extends our data handler, which, like I said, contains our CRUD, create, update, create, read, update, and delete methods. And we have a few repositories here. So the JPA repository is pretty much just, it contains APIs for the CRUD. So all of our repositories extend that JPA repository, make things a lot easier for us. But what I really kind of wanted to talk about was our controller. Um, so pretty much our our controller starts with an annotation, which is the controller, and that pretty much tells Spring Boot that this class represents a web controller, pretty much, or that this class contains methods that are set up to handle HTTP requests. Um, and AutoWire, that's pretty much just, I guess that's our CRUD stuff, just being implemented within our choices that we have. And we have a few other annotations, get mapping and request mapping. Get mapping pretty much just specifies that that method only, or that get can only um, request and accept get requests. And that's kind of important because the get request, or actually when a request comes in to Spring Boot, it decides which controller and which method is going to handle that request. So it's super important that these routes, or as you can see at the end of our get, these routes are attached to the correct method, or else everything pretty much can come crumbling down. And down here, we have some templates. So for our model attribute, I pretty much just grabs one of these, says, hey, just has a few different things. Well, you're going to see when I demo the web page, but it just has a few different things like the choice, the choice text, the response, and the choice ID is just the heading. And that's pretty much the same kind of trend for these other HTML files. And these are pretty much just like templates that tie into our controllers. So as you can see here, this model attribute pretty much just gets response, just kind of formulates this template. And yeah, that's all I want to talk about the code. I have, or everything's running now. Okay. So once we go on to pretty much like I said, what we've been working on is creating a like a web page where you can create a character. Um, and the character that we decided to just start with is Shadow. So here we can enter anything like for the name we could say Warren. He's a nice young man, so we'll say he's 25, male, extremely healthy. So let's put that in 100, and we'll do 50. Stamina, I haven't seen one run, but I'm gonna assume it's pretty fast, so we'll put that at 70. Destruction, we'll go ahead and do, we'll go ahead and do 50. Alteration, we'll just put it somewhere in the middle, 65. Okay, that's that. All right, and now our character has been created. So here's Warren, 25, all of his stats, his gender or sex, health, mana, everything that we filled out on the previous page is displayed here. And let's see, go into our database here to make sure that that character that we just created is stored inside of our database. Let's go ahead and refresh. Let's go ahead and do, where's it at? Okay, we gotta get all those. Okay, here we go right here. We see that our character Warren has been created and saved into our database. And yeah, that is a demonstration.
Thank you for that clarification, Sick Warren. I appreciate it. Okay, so yeah, Team APAC has been working on, I guess the same. I'm pretty sure it's been the same thing that everyone else has been working on, like making entities and controllers and then putting it into a web page. And so I kind of wanted to like show you like how it's like begun and then like how it's like going now. So at the beginning, we were kind of given just a regular entity from Warren and kind of like told to like use this example that he's given us and like to make our own right here. And so we've been working on making entities for all of our objects, and we've been successful with 2 of them so far. This is homework right now. We've completed the controller mapping for it as well, which you can see here. It allows us to, well, I mean, the way Warren helped me like explaining it, which is a really like simple way. I love this diagram right here because it basically just shows you like the way like I guess the request and receive kind of like goes throughout like the process. And so you can see here we've made our controller, and so this like sends data over to the model, which I don't want to get too crazy on, but I'm pretty sure it's just the like the thing here, homework. It sends it there, which sends it back over to the database, which then sends it back to the model, which would then go back to our control over here, which then sends it over to the HTML view, which turns it into HTML, which we have right here, over here, and which then sends back to you, the customer who's like looking at the web page. Which, you know, it's a pretty simple and nice explanation of how like all this kind of like runs, because it's a bit confusing when you just like see it like this and then you're just like, oh yeah, the controller like helps like open up the web page, which then opens up the HTML for this specific like create form for homework, like for this specific web page. So I thought that was really helpful. But we've been able to just make the web page for homework, plants, and Pokemon with second. So let me start running it right now to show you guys how it's been up, how it's been going. Oh, what am I doing? Oh, okay, my bad. That's a big X for me. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Now we're on the homework controller. Now we just gotta wait until we see that it's running over here. The terminal shows us when it's
running, it'll just show over here. It takes like 10 seconds ish for it to like fully start running, so we might not be here. A couple seconds. And I think it's running. So if we refresh this page that I have here, it should show our web page for specifically homework. And so, yep, your teacher now create the pane. Yep, you're the teacher now, create the pane. And so we would just put in, this is a string, so it would just be like flat. Words would be like 12, fold would be is a Boolean, so we would put in true or false. And then this is how it would turn up. This page, so okay, so let me like explain like how it like pops up. This is basically all of this. And so this HTML shows all of this. We have the shape, put in shape, you put words, you put in words, fold, you put in fold, which is a Boolean, so you put in true or false. And then we have the type submit in here, which then pushes to this HTML over here, which we then would see after we click submit. Now, right now, it's just looking like pretty basic because this is like I wanted to like show like the most basic form that we have like first. After we've like finished like doing this, you can like really edit it into like adding in like a lot of cool things. And so I don't think so. Our plants and Pokemon are pretty similar. So I'm actually just gonna show you Pokemon because that's like way cooler than showing plant. I'll show plant second, really. But they're basically the same thing. We added in some fonts and some special like styles for our plant stage. So these links up here towards the title for HTML basically show in like our special fonts and like I guess they're like libraries. I'm not really sure how to like explain it too well. But if we were to like click this link here, it would just like throw in like this. And so this I think this is this is this was the one that shows a really big line of code. But yeah, this is also the fonts, which also is implemented into our code when we link it in here. And so we don't have to actually like write down like all that CSS if we don't like really need to. After putting this all in, we are able to do we're able to just have it like this. And so this looks I love the way this looks. So then you can just put in your things here. This is a really long thing, so just give me like 3 seconds. But yeah, I mean, it's just basically our Pokemon with second ability list, which I will show you in a bit. Oh my god, we have such a long list. Grass, ice. I mixed those two up, but that's fine. Water. Yep, I've already done this before, as you can clearly see. Blaze and rage. Then after we submit it, it still comes up in the same font because we've done the exact same thing over here with the plant HTML. Added in the fonts and the sizes here, putting in this entire thing around the class NES containers around it, which is why we see the little rounded box thing here. And of course, the links here change the font of it to what we want it to be. And the plant HTML is basically the same thing. We can run it right now. I mean, yeah, we can just see it right here. Yep. So smell, smells nice. True, 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 and true. And so we haven't been able to change the HTML to look nice there, but it's they're basically it's the same concept really. Just putting in the styled here and then adding in a main class in there with the class to have it contained in the rounded container. And like the last group, the PG admin thing also should have all of the data tables, or am I in the right one? Yep, all of the tables for the things that we've made so far. So for plants, I could just view edit all rows, and it would have everything here. Color wasn't shown just because plants and homework inherit from a Pokédex item that has the color string, but we didn't put it in there because that's not what that is for. And same thing with homework, you can just view edit all rows. It's a pretty interesting. I'd want to do more with this, to be honest, because it seems like you could do a lot more with this. But I think we'd have to work more with our code first to like make cooler ideas with what I'm thinking of. But yeah, I mean, that's all that's all I like have to show so far. We just made the web page. Okay, just give me 1 second. Which code? Just like the Visual Studio? Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention these. See what you did there.
Hi. Yes. Let me share my screen. Okay. So this week with our team, we were able to port over from our console app, and we began our web application. So first, we began with making our objects into entities. We did that with most of our objects, and from there, we started working with our object controllers, where we implemented our CRUD, our update and delete, and also to create. From there, um, from the CRUD right there, we were able to we started working on our timely templates. Where is it? All right, so here we started working with the timely templates where we're able to change the information that goes into our HTML page. Um, so here, let me show our controller. This is the one for creating our comic book. All right, it's running. So right here, this is a page where we were able to make a comic book item from our store. Um, yeah. Right. So right here, it displays the comic book we've made. And a cool feature that we were able to add was a random picture that changes. And the way that works was in our tiny template for comic book, where we have a link where it changes the picture randomly every time for the comic book. All right. And if we go to our database, yeah, let me refresh it so it updates. It should show back the comic book that we made. All right, should be right here. So that's our application we have so far. In the future, we want to implement more to the HTML, like the cart, because it's still something we haven't added yet. So can't wait for that.
No, I'm just saying I'm leaving the Seneca Foundation. I've decided I'm gonna make my millions.
Be careful with this power, guys. Be careful with this power. Have a good weekend, guys.
Have a good day, everyone.
Good weekend, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.